I want to welcome Ashley Feldeisen to our call. This is our Diamond and Above chat that we do every Thursday. And I am excited for Ashley to talk to you guys because her story, I've heard her talk at our Super Saturday in Rochester, and her story is just amazing to me. And I feel like it's not your average success story. And I feel like a lot of us can relate to Ashley's story. So I'm excited for her to share a little bit of that. And then she's also going to go into giving us some training on having a business mindset in this business. So I'll kick it over to Ashley, and just to throw it out there, Ashley and her team hit 15-star, I think pretty recent too. So that's awesome. So I'm going to kick it over to Ashley.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Are you guys from Rochester? Is like the majority of your team from Rochester?
I'm in Rochester. I don't think anyone on here. Katie is. Maybe a couple of us.
So fun. Okay, so a little bit about me before I jump in. I'm so excited to be here. I love talking about the business mindset because I'll get to a point in my story where I kind of like drew that line in the sand and it'll all start to make sense. But so obviously my name is Ashley. My entire life, since I was 5 years old, I wanted to be a teacher. I actually grew up in a very unstable household. My mom was married 4 times before I was 13. And my dad was married 3 times before I was 13. And so I had new brothers and sisters coming in and out of my life my whole life, new parents, step parents coming in and out of my life my whole life. My dad battled with addiction, and later in my life, my sister battled addiction. And so my life was very unstable for the majority of my life. And so as a child growing up at 5 years old, I remember so vividly going to kindergarten and elementary school, or kindergarten, first grade and elementary school, and loving learning how to like write in cursive and learn how to read. And I would come home and I would open up yearbooks and I would just try to read things. I would try to read everything. And so I was actually raised with my handicapped uncle. If any of you guys follow me on Instagram, you know that he's like my entire world. His birthday on my shoulder, my initials, or his birthday is my tattoo on my shoulder, but he's my entire world, and he was kind of like my little brother my whole life. He's the ring bearer in our wedding. He's amazing, and he can't read and write. And so when I was going to elementary school, I was coming home every day and reteaching him everything I was learning. And so that instilled a really strong sense of leadership for me. It's one of my biggest memories that I have since a child. And so my entire life, I wanted to be a teacher. I went through high school wanting to teach. I went through my undergrad wanting to teach, and never ever changed my mind. And so I went to college in Buffalo. I went to a small private school in Buffalo, New York to pursue my undergrad in elementary education, where I then fell in love with my now fiance. I'm a COVID bride, unfortunately. We were supposed to have our dream wedding in 22 days. Unfortunately, we are not having our dream wedding in 22 days. We are kind of in this weird in-between phase. But stay tuned, more to come on that. If you do follow me, it's a crazy, wild roller coaster. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But anyway, so I fell in love with Tyler our sophomore year of college, and we were in a long distance relationship for 3 years. And then May of 2014 rolled around, where I was in Buffalo, he was in Baltimore, going to college. And we had to make a decision whether I was going to pick up my life when I graduated and move it to Baltimore, or if he was going to pick up his life and move it to Rochester, Buffalo area. And so since there weren't any jobs in upstate New York, I figured I would pick up my life and move it down to Maryland, where there were tons of teaching jobs. I fell right into a teaching position. We moved right into his parents' basement. I was broke, like $0 in my bank account. I had to pick up a waitressing job at the Green Turtle on top of being a teacher, enrolling in my first year of teaching. And I went and I started my master's program to be a reading specialist. And so my life became so full so quick. I went from being this party girl. I lived with 6 girls in college. I was a party girl, to now living with my new boyfriend. Well, not new boyfriend, but like we're not in a long distance relationship anymore. I'm moving in with his parents. And so my plate became so full. And with my plate becoming very full, I was pouring into everything else. I was pouring into my education. I was pouring into my career. I was pouring into this new relationship. I was pouring into being a waitress. I had nothing left for Ashley. And I put on a ton of weight. It was January of 2015, actually, where I remember thinking to myself, like, I worked so hard for this. I don't know if some of you guys can relate. If you can relate to this, put, something in the chat. But I dreamt my whole life of becoming something. I dreamt my entire life of becoming a teacher. I had like constructed this idea of what my life was going to look like. I constructed my dream classroom in my head. I constructed my dream students, my dream curriculum, my dream house that I couldn't even afford on this salary that I worked so hard for. And I got to this point where it was January of 2015, and I'm like, wow, I worked so hard for something that, I'm going to get emotional. I worked so hard for something that I created in my head that is not the reality. And I had $100,000 worth of college debt. And my life didn't look like what it looked like in my dreams. I was putting on weight, I was pouring and pouring, and I had nothing left for myself. And so I just started at a gym. I had no idea what to do. So I was like, okay, where can I fit in 30 minutes to go to the gym? So I ended up waking up at 4:00 every morning. I found a gym at the midway point from work. I should also mention that my commute was an hour to work each way. I woke up in Baltimore and I drove into DC every single day. And then 2 nights a week, I drove from DC to the opposite side of Baltimore. So my life was crazy, but I found a gym at the midway point, actually went to the gym. I ran 3 miles every single day for 2 weeks until I totally burnt out. It was like my new year, new me goal. And I remember it was February 3rd weekend. And I was laying in bed after being totally burnt out from the gym. I was going to cancel my membership because I just didn't have time for it. It wasn't working. Nobody was holding me accountable. I was still eating like crap because I didn't know how to eat. I was the classic fad dieter. I had no idea what to do. And I saw my childhood friend that I didn't even know I followed on social media. I saw my childhood friend do this workout in her living room. She was doing 21 Day Fix. I saw her post this before and after photo. She was brand new, but she posted this before and after photo and she lost 7 pounds in 21 days. It wasn't this crazy before and after photo. She still had weight to lose. She was on this journey of her own, but she had something I didn't have in that moment. And she was so proud of herself. And I was laying in bed, did. And so I reached out and I asked her for help. I didn't know she was a coach. It just said, Caitlin, what the heck are you doing? Can I buy it too? Like thinking she was going to like send me a link to go somewhere to just purchase a program. Like, I don't know. I did Hydroxycut, I did Nutrisystem. I did everything. So I'm just thinking this is another thing. Well, she got me set up. And then she started holding me accountable. She put me in a challenge group and I was like, oh, this is fun. And so I fell in love with 21 Day Fix. I am telling you guys, 21 Day Fix, and I know so many programs, we have so many programs now, we're so lucky. And there's always going to be one program that changes your life. For me, it was the portion control containers that taught me how to eat. I fell in love with the simplicity of them. I fell in love with the sustainability of them. And I still follow them today, 5.5 years later. And so just like my coach showed up on social media and I asked her for help, she was like, Ash, you should be a coach too. And instead of saying things like, oh, my plate is so full, I couldn't make time for it, she had painted this picture for me of what I could do myself. She showed up on social media, which I was already doing. I was getting, I was going and partying on the weekends. I was posting photos of my dogs. Like if I could make time for that, I could make time for posting my sweaty selfies, right? Just like she had changed my life. And so I said yes to the opportunity right away. It was like 7 days after I actually signed up for 21 Day Fix. I just was like, yeah, I can help other Ashleys of the world feel like this in the pockets of time throughout the day. And so I did. And that's how my entire business is run to this day. I always bring new people on exactly how I got started, exactly how my coach started me. And so I wanted to just kind of show up and keep being that person for others. I knew that if Caitlin was a busy nurse, my coach was a busy nurse, and she made time for this program. And I was a busy teacher, and I got to look at her story and say, well, if she can, I can too. And so I knew that I just needed to show up every day and paint the picture for if Ashley can, other people can as well. And so I never wanted to leave my teaching job. I just wanted to become a little bit better. I wanted to become a little bit hotter. I wanted to become a little bit healthier. And so I just kind of started to show up. And I remember it was the end of March, my first full month as a coach. And I had made $350. Of course, Beachbody does not guarantee any level of success. You have to work, at your own diligence or skill, something like that. But I remember making it was $311, I think. And I used to drive a Chevy HHR. I thought that car was so cool, and Tyler did not. Have you guys ever seen it? It's like a hearse, and it was purple. And I drove a Chevy HHR, and my payment was $308 a month. And I said, babe, because I showed up and I'm getting healthy, it just paid for my car payment this month. And so that was like the seed I planted for my belief in this business. I knew that I loved it. I knew that they didn't have to pay me to show up and feel as good as I was feeling. But I started like really pouring into this business. I remember Tyler and I had a 2-year plan. So back in March of 2015, we said, okay, we're going to stay in your parents' house for 2 years. It'll give us time to save for rent or save for a house. And this was before I really saw or believed in myself with Beachbody. And it was August of that year, August of 2015, just 4 months, 5 months after we had set that 2-year plan, that we actually put a down payment on our house. We put a down payment on our first house. We moved in, we got out of his parents' basement. And that was when I created my own office, created my own gym. And I said, I think I could do this, Ty. Like, teaching does not fulfill me. What I dreamt about when I was a little girl, like, this is it. This is what it felt like, showing up every day and helping the women feel, teachers have a job. Teachers in a classroom have a job, and I'm going to have babies, God willing, one day, right? And I want them to have incredible teachers, but I was made for this. I was made to help the children's moms feel incredible. I was made to help the women, and we're all made to help these incredible women feel incredible. And that's what I truly felt like. That was the fulfillment I felt. And we had a conversation. We sat down and we said, it's going to be hard, but I'm going to go full time in this business. And that was in 2016. Well, here's the kicker. In 2016, it was June of 2016, I quit my teaching job, and I fell stagnant for 2 years. I thought that if I were to quit my teaching job, people were going to flock toward me. I saw Lindsay Matway, who was a full-time coach. I saw Bonnie Engel, who was a full-time coach, paying off all this debt. Lindsay living this beautiful lifestyle. Brittany Leggett, who was one of my biggest inspirations. I saw them as full-time coaches living this dream life. I thought that if I quit my job, people were just going to flock to me. I was so wrong. For all of 2016 into 2017, for almost 2 full years to the end of 2017, I was defeated. I stayed a diamond coach. I did not give myself one single penny of a raise. I did not recruit any more. I did not recruit any diamonds whatsoever. And almost 2 years, it was about 20 months had passed. And I had to look back and say, wow, Ash, you had 0 growth in the last 20 months. And my dad had relapsed that year. My dad had relapsed in August of 2017. And I moved back home to Rochester for the summer, and I filled out a teaching application to go back to teaching because it would be easy. It would be easy for me to go back to work, right? For me to put my dreams on hold and to go back to the job that would have me. Oh no. Hold on 1 second. My washer's going crazy. Sorry, guys. I have guests coming this weekend. My brother and his girlfriend are coming this weekend. I'm washing their bedding. It's just going crazy in there. Anywho, so that year in July or in August, my dad had relapsed of 2017. And so I filled out a teaching application because it would have been easy for me to go back to work, right? And put my dreams on hold. And I remember filling out that application, and I was sitting across the table from my mom, and I was just sobbing, saying, Mom, I worked so hard to get out of a career that made me feel defeated. And here I am just willing to go back to it because it would be easy. And that month changed my entire life. I looked back at the last 20 months that I had, And I said, I'm not going to let another 20 months go by without having any growth at all. And so I drew a line in the sand. I remember looking at the coaches like Bonnie Engel and Lindsay Matway and Brittany Leggett and seeing their incredible success and craving their incredible success. Maybe you do that now with a coach and you compare yourself to where they are in their journeys, but you're not comparing yourself. I wasn't comparing my work to how hard they've worked. I knew how hard Bonnie Engel worked to pay off all of her debt. I knew how hard Lindsay Matway worked to be the top earner in this company, and I wasn't working that hard. I wanted to be where they were, but I wasn't working that hard. And so in 2017, I drew a big fat line in the sand, and that's what we're going to talk about today, the business mindset. Basically what I did in 2017 to draw that line in the sand. And in 1 year, so at the end of 2017, we actually ended a premier team. I got my spouse accounted diamond, and then I had one more diamond coach. We ended the year as a premier team. That next year, we had advanced and on Team Elevate, my team, we went from a 2-diamond team to a 36-diamond team. And now we have over 100 diamonds on our team. We're a superstar team. And it came from showing up every day on the days where you didn't want to, because you live today how others won't, so that you can live later how others can't. That is the soundtrack of my life. That was the soundtrack of my life for 2 full years when I drew that line in the sand. And so a lot of coaches are like, oh, when I'm introduced, sometimes they're like, oh, she had success very quickly. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I was the turtle. For 3 years of my business, I struggled hard. But I just started doing the things that they tell us to start doing, right? We know how to be successful in this business. My dog is behind me, trying to get comfortable. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Oops, can you allow me to share my screen, please? Good, okay. I'm going to share my screen and jump right into the business mindset. So this is one of my favorite things to talk about because, like I mentioned, this is the thing that I did to grow success in my business. And so I like to compare our businesses to a well. And so hopefully you guys have never heard this analogy before. If you have, I hope that you can maybe hear it in a different way today. But our businesses are like wells as well as our health and fitness journeys. But we're going to really focus on our businesses today. So think about a well, right? In order to create a new well, in order to create running water to come out of this well, you have to pump the well. So let's picture it's a hot day, you got your tank top on, you got your shades on, you go out to your well and you start pumping it. In order to create this fluid amount of water to come out so that you can hydrate your family, you have to pump this well. And you have to pump this well. And you have to pump this well. Well, when you're pumping that well, you can't see the growth start to happen. You can't see the pressure start to rise, right? You just have to trust that by pumping the well, that by putting in the action, that the pressure is starting to increase, correct? You just have to trust. So building the parallel to our business, it's the same thing. When we're in our businesses at the very beginning and every single month, still today, I pump my well without seeing massive growth payout today. But we pump our well, we show up on social media, we eat the spinach, we follow the containers or 2B mindset, we drink the Shakeology, we create content that speaks to our followers, to our tribe. We send the invites, we do the follow-ups, we follow people, and we trust the process. We pump the well, and we pump the well, and we pump the well. And we don't see the payoff right away, especially not at the beginning. The payoff that I'm seeing this month, that Sam's seeing this month, that Ashley's seeing this month, is the pumping that they did months ago, years and years ago. For me, I'm having yeses that I've invited 5.5 years ago. I'm having yeses of coaches or of followers who have been watching me for years who are finally ready to be a coach. So what we're pumping right now, we're not going to get a huge payout right away, but we're trusting that the water pressure is starting to rise. We're trusting that those people are going to come and trust us to be their coaches, right? But then there are 2 different types of people in this business when they see that first droplet of water. So let's say your well starts to flow, right? And you see that first droplet of water. You have a fixed mindset person and you have a growth mindset person. I was a fixed mindset coach for 3 years of my business until I literally couldn't anymore. Until I literally either had to shit or get off the pot, either go back to teaching or really work this business. And I forced myself to move over into the growth mindset. So these two different types of people, you have the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. You see the fixed mindset person sees that first droplet of water and they look at that first droplet of water and they're like, what the hell? I just worked that hard and that long for that one droplet of water, for that one yes this month. I only got one yes this month. I only got one person to trust me to help them with their health. And so that person, that fixed mindset person, looks at this business as something that's not for them. And they blame their lack of success on this business. And they start pumping slower and slower until they stop pumping in all. We all know those people, right? And then you have these growth, and I almost did that. I was almost that person. I almost went back to teaching and I would have given up on this business. Ashley Molstad said it perfectly on the National Wake Up Call the other day. She said the worst case scenario wouldn't have been her going back to her reality. For me, the worst thing wouldn't have been me going back to teaching. The worst thing would have been her never getting to find out how beautiful her life could have been, how beautiful it is today. For me, the worst case scenario wouldn't have been going back to teaching. It would have been never getting to feel the way that I feel today. The freedom, the financial freedom, the time freedom, the health, the passion, the confidence, right? And so then you have this growth mindset person who sees that first droplet of water and they look at that as an indication of what's coming. Oh my goodness, I pumped that long and that hard. And look, I got one person to trust me with their journey. I am going to see that as I know there's more running water coming. I know that it's going to start becoming very fluid. And this person, they start becoming more passionate. And all of a sudden, the water starts to flow and the trust starts to grow in their business. And so this fixed mindset person, they see this first droplet of water as just simply not enough. They see their business, the growth in their business, no matter how small. Maybe you didn't hit Success Club your first month in the business. Maybe you're 3 years in this business and you're still not consistently hitting Success Club. There's a disconnect there. And the biggest piece that I believe when I look down at my coaches who aren't having success in their business, even though they're showing up, is more times than not, just their mindset. And so making that shift over to the growth mindset where you see that first droplet of water as an indication of what's more to come. Success Club is really easy to be this sparkly, fluffy thing. Diamond is really easy to be this sparkly, fluffy thing. And you guys are all diamond coaches, I imagine, pushing for 2-star premier or 5-star emerald or 5-star emerald, 5-star elite, superstar diamond, whatever is on your vision board. It's really like, those are awesome and they're incredible goals. And I have them too. And we need to have them. They're the long-term goals. But if you were to look at a man who has to lose 100 pounds and say to him, okay, just lose 100 pounds. Let me know when you're done and you lose your 100 pounds. He would become frustrated with that goal ahead of him, right? It's a matter of setting the realistic goals that are going to get him there. Well, he has to lose his first 2. And then he has to lose his next 2. And then his next 2 until he gets to 10. And then he's well on his way there. And it's about celebrating the little things. And so maybe your long-term goal this month is Success Club. Well, you need to celebrate what you're doing to get there. You need to celebrate. Maybe you made this incredible post. Celebrate that. Maybe you just got done sending 30 invites. Celebrate that, because that's the growth mindset. You see that first droplet of water, the pumping and the pumping, as an indication of what's to come. And you're getting excited about the action you're putting into your business. This was the biggest shift of mine in 2017. Drawing that line, like, this is my line in the sand that I drew. Going from showing up just because I have to make a quick buck to actually showing up because I get to. Fixed mindset people think their hard work is just a waste of time, as fruitless. I was that person. You send invites just to send invites. That's the best way to not get a yes, is to just show up because you have to. The fixed mindset person, they understand that every single pump is on their path to mastery and abundance. And so what I mean by that is, when you send an invite, Sure, you're not going to get a yes right away, but you get excited, especially as diamond coaches leading a team. I'm the analogy queen if you can't tell already. If you guys haven't read the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle, it is a must read. It's an easy read. I love it, love it, love it. It's so good. But in the book she goes through a divorce, right? And so one of her friends, after Glennon telling one of her friends, like, I feel like my family's just going to fail. My kids are just going to doubt me. They're going to hate me. They're going to fall apart because I chose this divorce. And so she tells her friend this, and her friend was like, Glennon, you are the flight attendant in a plane that has turbulence right now. You're the flight attendant in a plane that has turbulence. The turbulence is the divorce, and your children are the passengers just watching what you're doing. How you react is going to be how they react. We've all been on a plane with turbulence, right? What do? Instantly, we look at the flight attendant, right? We look at the flight attendant to see how they're reacting, and how they're reacting, we're going to start reacting. If the flight attendant is like all weary and goes to sit in her seat, I'm like, shoot, I'm dying. But if she's like normal, she's still serving drinks, she's smiling, I'm going to be a little bit more at ease, right? And so our businesses are the same thing. When as diamond coaches, as leaders, I'm speaking to leaders now, how you see your business. If you look at every single pump that you're doing in your well, every single pump you're doing in your business as a path to mastery and abundance, guess who's going to start feeling that way? Your coaches. You're the flight attendant, and they're just watching you. And so as a leader in your business, it's so important for you to shift over to the growth mindset. Even if you have a hard day, guys, it's an opportunity for growth. I look back at every single season of my life where I have had the most success. And it all comes from failing first, having a hiccup, and then growing a little bit every single season. I just told you guys my story. The majority of my story is failing forward. And so we should be looking forward to failing and then growing. But a fixed mindset person, they forget about the reason they started pumping in the first place, and their excuses become louder than their why. And so I've had this happen. I've had coaches sign up and they're like so excited, and I'm sure as diamonds you guys have too. You have these brand new coaches sign up and they tell you what they love. They tell you how successful they're going to be, how excited they are, and you get so excited with them. But then they get defeated, and what starts to happen? They talk themselves out of this opportunity because the excuses become louder than the why of what they started. But then you have this growth mindset person who lets their why speak so much louder than the hard work, than the hard work they're putting in, and they use it as the soundtrack to their action. In 2017, when I drew that line in the sand, it was just like, Ash, you have to be willing to show up with or without a paycheck. You have to be willing to get in the best shape of your life. Guys, this business is so simple. So simple. Get healthy and fit, fall in love with your journey. Get healthy and fit, fall in love with your journey. People are not going to be able to gravitate away from you. Plain and simple. But the fixed mindset person, they get so caught up in the inviting and having to do things in order to find success that they forgot that they actually signed up to get healthy, to get fit, and help other women do the same thing. The growth mindset people, they let their why speak so much louder than that. So my biggest piece of advice to you, for those of you who need to draw a line in the sand, is to create a strong morning routine. I don't know what your morning routine is. Maybe you can put it in the chat, but developing a strong morning routine for me was everything. I don't touch my phone for the first an hour and a half to 2 hours in the morning, because it is Asher's time. It is my time to be me, to fill up my cup, because I know that I am a better coach, mentor, partner, sister, daughter, friend if I fill up my cup first. That's growth mindset. That's not me worrying about Success Club. That's not worrying about how many likes I got on my photo first thing in the morning. That's not all of my to-do list waiting for me, all of the things that are waiting for me in my email. That's not my priority. That's not my why. It doesn't align to my values. My first value is my health. My first priority is me, because my business is also a priority, and my business is better when I am better. And so I think it's really important for you guys to make that shift and ask yourself, what am I doing in the morning? Because I looked at my leaders when we were pushing for Superstar, and I said, girls, what are you doing first thing in the morning? And they were all checking their phones. They were all checking their Instagram. And I said, you're waking up 30 minutes earlier. And now I make every single one of them. We get up at 5 o'clock every morning. I don't have to get up at 5 o'clock every morning, but I want to hold them accountable. And we get on Zoom every morning and we just work on ourselves for the first hour of the day. We're not working in that hour. We're doing our start to day journal. I journal every morning, just my health. I have just a blank journal from Target where I just journal my health. I do my start to day journal and I do my personal development. I plan my day and then I work out. Those are the first 2 hours of my day. First hour, it just depends on how long I take. First hour to 2 hours every single day is spent working on me. You will see a huge shift in your business when you do that. If you have time for that, of course. Sometimes some of my girls only have 30 minutes to focus on themselves, and sometimes that's all they need. Fixed mindset people, they look over at Sally, whose well is overflowing. I know you guys have probably done this too. I've done it and been guilty of this. You look over at Sally, who has this fluid well, just like bursting at the seams. Her business is just explosive. She's hitting Success Club 10 every month. She's just moving up the ranks. And the fixed mindset person, they compare what they have, and they compare it to what Sally has over there to the right or to the left. But the growth mindset person, they look over at Sally and they clap for her and they said, good for you, Sally. I'm going to use your success. I'm going to use your success as an idea or as, an indication or as an inspiration for what I can do next. We don't tell our stories to boast or brag. We tell our stories to say, well, if you're willing to just kind of drop the excuses, you can grow massive success as well. And so the growth mindset is being able to clap for those people and say, hell yeah, go ahead, girl. I'm going to be there right with you. I'm going to work just as hard as you did to get there, and I will be there very soon. And then the last thing, the fixed mindset takes no ownership for lack of effort. I think this is one of the biggest things. This is one of the biggest reasons people quit, is that they blame Beachbody for their lack of success. We all know there is nothing that Beachbody doesn't have. Truly, we have everything you need to be successful. We literally have, and I say this all the time, we have the vehicle to be successful. You just got to take the vehicle, or I guess we kind of have the platform. You're the vehicle. You have to bring it to success. But we have the workouts. We have the nutrition. We have the support. We have the community. We have the network. We have the income opportunity. We literally have it all. They make it so easy for us. I know, I've been in this business for a hot minute. Ash, I don't know how long you've been in this business, but back then we didn't have any of this. We didn't have none of this. Well, we had Shakeology and we had DVDs, which was great, but we didn't have the platform that we have today. And so today, the coolest part is that you could be black, white, orange, yellow, square, round, whatever. You could be whatever and be successful in this business because you're not trying to fit a mold. You're not trying to fit into Beachbody. You're taking Beachbody and just using the platform and fitting it into your life and saying, I'm getting healthy and fit with this platform. Who's coming with me? And so you get to relate to the other yous of the world, no matter who the other yous are. But you have these coaches who blame Beachbody on their lack of success. That's a fixed mindset. But then you have this growth mindset where you may take breaks, you may stumble and fail, you might not hit the goals that you want to hit, you might not hit Success Club. I hope you're hitting Success Club every month, but you might not. You might fall back from diamonds sometimes. You might not hit the 2-star or the, whatever leadership bonus you want to hit that month or that quarter, but you always get up a little bit stronger. That's the growth mindset. I'm talking to diamonds here. So I'm here to tell you guys that this business is a dang wild ride. You're going to hit diamond and you're going to hit ranks beyond this, and you're going to fall back, and you're going to have coaches that you thought would be with you forever and they're going to quit. But you have to be so rooted in this business that you're not going anywhere. You're going to go through seasons that feel like they'll never end, but you're always going to have this business. I think about, we're all going through COVID right now, but I think about if I didn't have this, if we didn't have this right now, where would so many of us be? I couldn't even imagine where I'd be without this business, having to, teach from home. It would be crazy, right? So you know what, no matter what season we're going through, you're going to stumble, you're going to fail, but you always have to get up stronger because your roots are so planted into this business. So So you want a team, I'm sorry, I just had to kind of like recollect my thoughts. So we have this growth mindset. I imagine that as leaders, you guys all want a team of coaches on the right, right? Tell me if you guys want a team of coaches on the right while I take a sip of water. Who wants a team of growth mindset coaches? I know I do. I would take 500 growth mindset coaches any day. Yes, Ashley, I believe blue. Uh-huh. Okay, so you guys will all want a team of rock star growth mindset coaches, right? Who's staring back at you in the mirror? So I told you guys the flight attendant analogy. In order to attract these growth mindset coaches, how are you showing up every day? Are you showing up and giving your all to this business? Are you showing up and with a smile on your face, even through the turbulence, even through the crazy of your life? Are you following a nutrition plan? Because 9 times out of 10, when I ask my struggling coaches what they're struggling with or why they're not having success, it goes back to what they're putting in their body and how they're moving their body. Are you following a nutrition plan? Tell me in the chat, are you a UPF girl or are you a 2B mindset girl? And I would have you ask yourself, maybe you rate yourself, you don't have to put it in the chat, but if you're not having success in your business, if you're not attracting business building coaches, how would you rate your nutrition? Are you getting results? Are you showing up as the coach that you crave to have? Are you showing up as the growth mindset woman? Are you seeing your success as an indication of what's more to come? Are you understanding that every single pump is on your way toward abundance and mastery? Are you letting your why speak so much louder than the struggle in every single day? Are you looking over at Sally and clapping for her and using her as inspiration? And are you taking breaks and stumbling and failing and always getting up stronger because your roots are so planted into this business? And I think that was the strongest question I could have ever asked myself in 2017. That was the question that changed my business because it was a big fat no. I hadn't gotten results literally in a year and a half. I was showing up to my workouts because I had to post on social media. I was not following a nutrition plan. I was letting the stresses of my life and my craziness it rolled over into my business when I could have just showed up stronger for myself and been better in every other area of my life. But it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer why I wasn't having success the first 3 years of my business. Sure, I was hitting Success Club because I was showing up, but I wasn't doing it with flying colors and I wasn't doing it enough to live the life that I knew that I craved because I wasn't showing up as the coach that I wanted. So I can imagine that your dream coach does a couple of these things, right? She starts and finishes programs with passion and intent. She has that calendar printed out on her wall. She's crossing off every day. She's giving it her all. She's showing up in bod groups or her challenge group and she's tracking. My doorbell's ring. I think it's just UPS. She shows up and she tracks her shakes. She drinks her shakes every day. She's excited about her workouts. She's excited about talking. There's another thing. Are you talking about the workouts? Are you talking about coaching? And remember, you're the flight attendant. What you do, your girls are going to do. And so your dream coach probably shows up and creates content on social media, not because she has to, but because she gets to, because she actually looks forward to the opportunity to have a platform. How lucky are we? Like some days we have to wake up and pinch ourselves, or at least I do. I wake up and pinch myself and say, I can't even believe this is my full-time job. I'm so blessed to be able to have this incredible platform where I get to create content. And sometimes I fall into these slumps of, oh, what am I gonna pull out of my butt today? Like, how am I gonna inspire anybody? And then I have to reel myself back in and say, Ash, you don't have to inspire anybody today. You get to inspire people today. And so your dream coach probably shows up and creates content because she gets to. Your dream coach carves out time each and every single week for new trainings and team time. Your dream coach isn't on calls on their phone, isn't on calls with, they have notes in front of them. They're excited. They're taking it in, and then they're taking it in and they're applying it to their business. That's my favorite thing. That is one of my favorite attributes of a leader on my team, is when they get on a call and they get excited about it. And then I actually watch them apply those things that week. I'm like, oh, this is my dream coach. But that's not going to happen unless I'm that person, right? Your dream coach probably finds happiness in putting in the behind the scenes action because she knows where it's going to get her. Your coach, whoever your mentor is, they're not watching you send invites. They're not watching you get your workout done. They're not watching you take that selfie. They're not watching you, create the form, do the back end stuff. But it's your job to show up as if they are watching you, as if, I love creating, I just love creating content. I love video is kind of my favorite thing in the world. I love creating videos. I love sending invites because I know what's on the opposite side of that, right? And so your dream coach probably does too. Your dream coach is showing up not because she has to send the invites, not because she has to create the content, not because she has to do the behind the scenes thing, but because she sees it as a path to mastery. Your dream coach checks in with you and is so eager to keep learning and growing. And your dream coach has her roots planted so deep in the ground that no bad day or setback will sway her left or right. She's rooted, she's here, she's excited. But guys, ain't none of this stuff gonna start happening. You guys probably want to build 6-figure incomes, 7-figure incomes, right? You guys want to build elite teams, superstar teams. None of that's gonna start happening until you become her, until you start picking up these traits. These are just a couple of my traits of my dream coach. So I know that if I want to attract Sally, who holds these traits of a growth mindset coach, I have to be her. I have to hold these attributes. I have to start and finish programs with passion and intent. I have to show up and create content on social media because I get to, and I get excited about it. I have to carve out time for new trainings. Even as a superstar coach, I have to learn and grow and show my team that I am. I have to find happiness in putting in the work behind the scenes when no one's watching. I have to check in with my coaches and get excited and keep learning and growing together. And I have my roots planted so deep in the ground that no storm will ever sway me. Not COVID, not a canceled wedding, nothing is going to sway you from left and right. And so you are going to start attracting. And it's not, in 2017, when I drew the line in the sand, it wasn't day one I decided to go all in and then I had a flock of people. It was like 6 months of doing this relentlessly that I really started to see, wow, I'm starting to create these incredible coaches. And the majority of them are still with me today because I hold those attributes, right? And so that's all I have for you guys. I hope it was helpful. As leaders, I could probably give this training to new coaches, to leaders as well. But I am open for any questions. I don't know how long you guys usually go. I don't know if I talk too long. I'm a talker, but I can answer questions or we can jump off, whatever you want to do.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I've been in the business for like 4.5 years. I started out this year at like a shaky in and out 1-star, went to NLC. It pretty much like blew my business up. And now we're like a pretty solid 3-star team. We're literally only a handful of coaches going from 3-star to 6-star in the next couple of weeks. And I have my girls in a pod that are like, they're all in it. They're ready to go. They're down to do it. What kind of things are you putting in your push pods for like those big goals? How often are you talking to those girls? Like, what do those action items look like for pushing for the big things?
I love that question. That's probably the hardest question for leaders is like, how do I get my girls to want it as bad as I want it? So first and foremost, we're always going to want our goals. We're always going to want 6-star more than our girls ever will, right? I always wanted superstar more than my personally sponsored diamonds ever will. But I think the biggest thing is going to be, so in my push pod, when we went for Superstar, it was every day. Like, we were doing this together. We were doing this collectively. We were like, we knew it was a season of hustle. And so you have that open conversation with your girls that this is a season of hustle. This is something super important because now your team's going to go to elite, right? If you push to 6-star, so now I think for the next 5 months, maybe you make it like your elite pod. And so now they feel like they have something to push for. It's not just them getting to diamond and holding it. It's like, wow, I'm going to be one of the ones that gets our team to this incredible goal. And so something fun that I did while we were pushing, so they, when we started qualification, I actually made cute like crop sweaters and I sent them all to them. So now they have a little bit of skin, and then we just hustled for the next 6 weeks. So you could do something like that for elite, or even make like a sticker, have them put it on a water bottle. I don't know what your girls were motivated by. My girls would do anything for a hat or a sweatshirt. But I would just talk more so about, what they're doing collectively as a whole. And then I would really cast the vision long and far for them. Your goal is not for them to get to diamond so that you can hit 6-star. Your goal is for them to get to diamond so that they can get to 2-star and open up their second business center, so that they can push and get to be elite teams. And so I think the biggest thing for me in that season of hustle, of pushing for Superstar, and now we have every quarter of hustle, it's more than them on diamond is the goal. It's more so like, I'm pushing you to get to diamond because of what's after that, because of what comes. Really helping them understand the idea, like how beautiful opening up the second business center is. Really helping them understand the bonuses each quarter and what they have to look forward to. And so your girls aren't just going to be pushing for a lead at that point. They're going to be pushing and rallying because they are then going to open a door to so much more. And so I think it's going to be a lot of growth and, passing on a lot of leadership to those girls. And I would just talk to them every single day. Say, who's down to hustle right now? Let's do this. Let's lock arms. Let's do this together. But you'll always want the goal more than they will. So I think it's you pushing over how will it actually advance their businesses too. Hopefully that answered that.
Yeah, totally. And then my quick second question would be, how deep do you mentor your downline? Because I feel like I have some amazing, amazing coaches in my downline. They don't necessarily have the greatest upline coach, and I don't want to step on toes, but also I want to build like really in depth. I don't want to build a house of cards. So what does that look like for you?
I build deep. I'm not a high recruiter. I'm not a top recruiter. I recruit probably 5 working coaches a month. Now, back in 2018, I was recruiting like 20. This is not my speed anymore. I want to build deep. I want to reach down. I have the same problem. We get lucky with these coaches who might be 4 levels deep. And if their coaches aren't going to give them what I have the opportunity to give them, I'm going to say, hey, do you mind if I jump on a call with so-and-so? I've seen her passion. I really want to work with her. So I don't think it's stepping on toes. You're running an organization. You are running an organization. This is a business. I will work as deep as I need to, 20 levels down if I have to if I see huge growth. And I love doing that. If I see a new coach recruit 2 coaches in a week, I'm going to reach out to her and I'm going to say, girl, you are killing it. What are you doing? Would you mind popping on live and just sharing? And so you're passing on, you're passing that on to them too. They're going to see that, wow, I'm going to be building my team deep as well. And I love being able to work with work with Ashley, and I'm going to be able to build my team, and I'm going to work with my downline too. I was kind of in a position where the coach who signed me up quit, and then the coach who signed her up quit, and I was passed up to my upline. And I don't know if you know who Pat Reelman is, but Pat's my upline. He's like my big brother now, but we're 7 levels away from each other. And so he kind of always painted that picture for me, and he builds very, very deep. Pat organization is so deep. He's $1 million earner. He's insane because he reaches down and works with his coaches. And so I would never, ever, ever hold back from working with your downline, because that's dough. Hopefully that answered that.
I kind of have a question rolling off of Chelsea's with that, because I feel like as leaders, we do get so deep. So do you have a routine where you check on those things to be able to reach out to those girls or guys? Just because I feel like some people can get lost.
Yeah. I don't really have a routine in that sense. I just try to stay in the routine of seeing the recruiters, and whenever one girl signs more than one coach, I always reach out to her, and that ends up really growing relationships deep in my organization. Or even like if I go down my downline, you know, every Sunday I check my entire downline. If I see a girl who's at Success Club 10 who, you know, is super deep in the downline, I'll reach out to her and just ask her what she's doing. So I think it's more so just while I'm doing other leadership things, I like really point them out and make an effort to recognize like crazy and build that relationship with them. Because I remember when I was a new coach and Pat would reach out to me for hitting Success Club, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And so I, you know, like to do that. Even when I'm even making the leaderboard, I'm going through and I'm seeing those numbers. I'm just sending a quick message saying, girl, like, or one thing that I love doing is seeing new leaders and seeing that they're building an organization of their own. And I just send them a message saying, your downline is stacked, like you look awesome. And it just gets them excited to keep growing. So just recognizing them like crazy while I'm doing other leadership stuff already.
I have a question.
Yeah. Oh, I want to be where you are.
So I feel super lucky to be here and to be on this call. I mean, like, we have the best life ever. But Ashley, you're one of the like only just a couple coaches that I like watch, and I admire you from afar. Like, you're so awesome. So I'm crushing right now. But my question to you is, I know that you are just so passionate about what we do, obviously, and you lead with that passion and it shows. But what would you say to someone like me who is also like, I bleed blue, like I am obsessed with what we do, but I feel like I talk about it too much. And I know that you're really intentional about building your brand and knowing that not everybody's people aren't going to relate with you because you're talking about workouts and Shakeology all day long. So how do you, if you're like, I'm in my last or one more week until One Star Qual is over and we hit it, and it's going to be awesome, which is so cool. But like, how do you find that balance of like inviting every day on your stories, but also being really intentional about building your brand? And I guess also along with that, how did you find out really what you wanted your brand to be?
Yeah, those are good questions. I could talk about this for an hour on its, you know, in itself. Every coach is going to be different. You know, I work a lot with Kim Fitzpatrick, who talks about the business every single day. And then you have a coach like me who talks about it twice or 3 times a week. And we build our businesses very differently. I personally would not follow a Beachbody coach. And just like, if I was not a Beachbody coach, I would not follow a Beachbody coach because they're a Beachbody coach, right? I want to follow them because they're other things, and then they're crushing being a coach as well. And so my brand specifically is, you know, very geared toward fashion. My dogs, hi, geared toward fashion, my dogs, being a fiance, food, like nutrition, and fitness. And so I think the coolest thing about having this platform of Beachbody is that it's more than just coaching, right? Nutrition fits into that, food fits in, or fitness fits into that, being a CEO fits into that. And so I figured out what my brand was I remember actually sending a message to my sister one day and being like, who am I? Like, what do you know me for? And then it was like a matter of like really starting to develop that brand around what people know me for. And so maybe it's a matter of like sending a couple of messages to your best friends or your, you know, or to your favorite people in your life, and just saying like, the first thing that you think about when it comes to me, like, what do you think about? And then really building your brand around that. But also it has to feel authentic. Like, you need to show up in your most authentic self. My most successful coaches in the business are the ones who just show up as them. They ain't trying to be nobody but them. And the business comes easy to them because it is. And so I talk about Beachbody when I want to talk about Beachbody. I talk about coaching when I want to talk about coaching. I talk about fashion when I want to talk about fashion. I talk about makeup when I want to talk about makeup. And so it just becomes very fluid. Like, I run my Instagram for a business, yes, but I also love Instagram because it's Instagram and it's social media, and I love being social. And so I think there is too much, and I think there is too little, and it's just a matter of like, how can I start bringing people in based on who I am, and then get them at the right time a couple times a week and show them how I'm crushing my workouts, show them how this business opportunity is changing my life, and show them how kick-ass I am and how I'm using this platform to make me even better. I hope that makes sense. It's like such a lengthy thing, but there's no right answer. It's honestly about figuring out what's right for you too. Did that even answer it?
Yes, totally. And it's different for everybody, you know, like I've watched Pat's stories and looked at his feed a few times, and he talks about the business every day, and that works for him. So it's all about trial and error and figuring out what works. So thanks a lot. Thanks so much for
You're
being
welcome.
here.
Definitely trial and error. Definitely trial and error.
All right, we're approaching an hour on here. Does anybody have one last question for Ash?
I have a quick question. Okay, so because qualification is like the most stressful time ever, I have a question how you, like, even not even just your diamonds, but emeralds and stuff, like if you see that they're going to be dropping rank or they need to replace in areas, how do you handle that? Because I always am stuck in that, like, I personally check my online office every single day, so I know exactly what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you would think a lot of your coaches would be doing the same, but I know sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
So I like to like shoot a, like, how can I help like us fix this, you know, situation? But I'm always like tiptoeing on that. But I'm like, at the end of the day, like you were saying, it's our organization. So like I take responsibility for it, but I never want to come off as just like, you need to replace this right away. You know what I mean? Like, so how do you handle, especially with having to go through 15 star? Because going through 4 was enough for me. I was like, okay.
It's a lot. Communication. Like your girls gotta know going in, like, we're in qualification. We're doing solid by Sunday. If you ain't solid by Sunday, you're going to get solid by Sunday. So what we did through 15-star qual, what we do every quarter pushing for 15-star qual, is I have a spreadsheet. And so the spreadsheet just is every single diamond that I have, and it's what they need. So I'm publicly in our PS page, and I have a PS page just for my personally sponsored coaches. I post that every Friday morning, and so they see where they are for the week, and they know every week we're pushing hard for, you know, to be the best team that we can be, right? They know that qualifications every single month for the bonuses are a thing, especially for me as their leader, just like it is for them holding their rank so that they can make $18 versus $16 versus $14 for cycles, so that they can push their business to 1-star, 2-star. And so it's really about communication and really letting them in on it with you. And so when you're pushing for a big goal like that and you see somebody who's inactive, I think you are checking your downline in the same that they're checking your downline or their own downline. So I always just send them a message to say, hey, doing a quick audit of the downline, just wanted, you probably already know this by now, but your left leg emerald just needs a new emerald, or your left leg emerald just needs to be active. And it's just like a sweet message. It's short and sweet, but I'm not stepping on any toes. I'm not tiptoeing around, because this is my business, this is my organization, just like it's yours. And you're going to like paint that picture for them. And they're going to be like, and once you start showing up like that and just communicating that with them, they're going to start just checking it more often. And then that's the coach they're going to become too. You want leaders, right? You want achievers. You want these coaches who are going to treat this like a business. And so you're painting that picture every time you send them a message, every time you have a conversation with them. But I straight up just say, hey, you need to take a look at your left leg emerald. You might have already, but you know, here it is. I've never had one of my girls react negatively, because they know I'm running a business. They know that they're running a business too.
Cool. Thank you. That's pretty much what I do too. But I'm just like, I'm like the people pleaser coach. Yeah. So I'm always like, who did that?
Are you a 2? Are you a 2 on the Enneagram?
I don't know. I'm aligned with so many different ones of them, but I'm trying to be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a 3. I'm a 3 wing too. So I have that piece of me too. I'm a big people pleaser as well. And that's why for the first 2 years of my business, I drug people. I was like, oh, this girl's going to be so successful. And I just held on to her for so long, when really I needed to go find 15 more girls so that they would push her. But you can't please people. You can't please everybody, but you've gotten where you are by being a people pleaser. But it's just about kind of like, it's just that communication factor.
Awesome. Thank you.
I love that you brought that up, Ash, too, because I feel like it has everything to do with this call of the business mindset. Because I was the same way until I think the beginning of this year, and I reached out to Sam and I was like, I just feel like selfish telling people like, hey, you need this because we're in qualification.
Right.
But, you know, Sam had to give me that business mindset. You just have to be in that mindset that it's not just about your qualification, but you're actually helping them get to Diamond, like Ash said, to get to 2-star and help them build that solid business.
Yeah, and like letting them know that they're going to get there one day too. Like you're going to go through qualification one day and you're going to feel that same pressure. Like I'm going to give it to you. It's like opening the door and just saying like, hi, this is a season of hustle. You're going to feel it from me, but we're going to do it together. And they're going to go through it too. But you said it perfectly. You're doing it for them. You're doing it because you care about their success.
Yes, I love that. Well, I don't want to keep too much of your guys' time. I do appreciate, we all appreciate you hopping
Thank you guys.
us your time. I took so many tips and I'm sure everyone else did. But thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
See you guys.
Yeah.